Hey everyone, so I posted a video before of me making the cabbage soup for the cabbage soup diet, but it was really short. And I've had a few people ask me for more details, so this is going to be a more detailed video of me preparing the cabbage soup for the famous cabbage soup diet. Now keep in mind there are different variations of this, but this is my variation. For the soup. So these vegetables that are here, I've already pre-rinsed and everything. I have my green bell pepper, celery, and carrots. I am choosing to use 4 carrots, so 4 carrots, 4 stalks of celery. And I will chop my vegetables as small as I would like for them to be in the soup, which they really don't have to be super small because once you simmer the soup, they're going to soften up anyway. But I like to do mine kind of small. So about that size. I'm going to take 2 carrots at a time, chop those. Chop my bell pepper. I really don't like the bell pepper seeds. I mean, some people really like them, so I just kind of cut the heart of the bell pepper out. That's what they refer to it as. I just kind of take that out and try to knock out all the seeds before I chop. But some people really like the seeds, and I've heard that they're nutritious. They have nutritional value. I don't know. I don't care. I have enough nutrition in here. I don't need to eat seeds. But anyhow, chop up my bell pepper. I make kind of medium-sized slices for that just because I like the taste, the flavor of bell pepper. So I don't chop it really tiny, but not too big either. Like when I'm making collard greens, I keep my bell pepper pretty big. But for cabbage soup, kind of medium. I guess that's what you would call it, medium size. Okay, so next I am going to prep my rosemary and my thyme. Now, I very well could have just used seasoning shaker and added some in there, but I wanted fresh rosemary and thyme because it definitely makes a difference with the flavor. You can tell the difference. You can taste the difference, I should say. So I'm going to add that. And you don't need a lot because it only takes a little to add that flavor. I love both rosemary and thyme. Sometimes, you see what I did there? Sometimes I may just use one of them, but this time I'm going to use both. So you cannot add this entire stalk. Well, you can, but you can't eat the stem of the herb, so you cannot chew that and it'll just end up being annoying. So I am separating this from the stem, separating the leaves from the stem with my knife. I'm not really chopping it, but I'm just kind of like pulling it away. Now, I have seen someone do a trick with this. You know how they have those TikTok videos where people show little hacks and everything. I think I saw someone do a trick with this where they used a grater and they just like slid the herb through the grater, through like one of the holes, and all the leaves came off. And that would be nice. That would be slick. But I don't have a grater. I don't grate anything. I guess it's probably because I don't eat cheese, so I don't grate anything else. I'm just getting my leaves together here. My rosemary leaves, of course, are a lot easier because rosemary is larger than the thyme leaves. But like I said, you only need a little of it to add the flavor. And you could just add as much as you want. I have seen a cabbage soup recipe that calls for green beans. So I bought some fresh trimmed and cleaned green beans. I'm just gonna cut them up, not too small, because I do like green beans. Not too small, but I will grab a few at a time and maybe just cut them in half, because they're not too long. I'm gonna cut them in half. Okay, so now it's time for the onion, and as you see, I added my little vinyl gloves that I keep in the kitchen. They're not fancy or anything special, like special cooking gloves or anything. I don't even know if those exist, but these are just some vinyl gloves that I keep in the kitchen when I have to use something that I don't want the scent to come off on my hands. So sometimes I use these when I'm chopping onions and sometimes celery. So I do want to add some. I also want to add that I chose to chop my onion last, just because once I'm done with this, I've been like rinsing my cutting board in between. But once I'm done with this, of course, whenever I chop onions, I immediately do kind of like not a deep cleaning, but I use my Dawn dishwashing liquid, my spray. I love that Dawn. And clean off my cutting board, because I don't want that odor to linger too long on my cutting board and affect everything else that I place on there. So those are my onions. Okay, so I just placed everything in one bowl. Green beans, carrots, celery, onions, bell pepper, string beans. And I will set them off to the side so I can prepare the rest. Okay, also I am going to use canned tomatoes that are already diced, just because I just don't feel like chopping tomatoes. There's a little bit, that's a different type of chop, and so I don't feel like going through that. So this is the only thing that I am going to use that is canned, but as you see, it is organic and no salt added. So that's what I'm using for my tomatoes. And now it is time for the star of the show, the cabbage. So I'm going to cut this cabbage head in half. Just makes it easier. And I am probably going to use most of the cabbage head, but I am not going to add all of this to this particular pot of soup. Cut it in half to start with. As you see, it's not simple. I probably could have used a better knife, but this is fine. It worked out well. So I'm going to take that half, and I'm just going to not make small sizes, but pretty decent, because the cabbage is going to get so soft that it's not like you have to have small pieces in order to be able to eat the soup. But I will cut like this size and then cut this in half. That's a nice example of the size. Just for reference, this is the amount of the cabbage head that was left. So I'm not going to use that amount. I will save that for the next round of cabbage soup. Now I have my cabbage in my colander, and I'm going to rinse everything all at once. This is only the cabbage, because of course it hasn't been rinsed yet. You can't get to those inside pieces. Okay, so just for reference, I have this huge 8-cup measuring bowl that I like to use. Most of the time I use this to mix things up, but I decided to measure just how much cabbage I did chop and that I am going to add. This is 8 cups. This bowl is 8 cups. So I'm going to say well, to here is 8 cups. So I'm going to say this is about 8.5 cups of cabbage. Okay, so this is something else that I do that is my preference. I actually like to start cooking all of the chopped vegetables first because I like for them to cook just maybe, even if it's 5-10 minutes longer than the cabbage and any other leaves that I decide to add in there, because I am going to add spinach. I like for it to cook a little bit longer because these vegetables are in their raw form, they are hard, and I want them to soften up because this is soup. And so I like to cook them for about 5 minutes longer than everything else, maybe 5 to 7 minutes, I should say. So I'm starting them now. Oh. So I didn't get myself on camera tasting this, but oh my God, I just tasted some of the broth. It is so delicious. I just wanted to show you all the color and consistency. It is so flavorful. Oh my gosh. And this is all done now at this point.